Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's One Piece Treasure Cruise video, I will be showcasing the 7 best teams for the new Blitz battle versus Kaido for all types of different New Year Super Sugo pools, no matter if you got the entirety of the new batch or no one from the new batch, this video will have a chapter for you. Without further ado though, let's challenge the new Blitz battle versus Kaido. If you pulled the entire new batch, this is the optimal way to use them. We are going to have Roger Oden as captain, V2 Yamato as friend captain and as a sub entering on the deck side on both of these units, while for Zoro Sanji we want to enter on the Q side and we want to place Zoro Sanji in the middle, and adjacent to them we want all the non-Yamato units, so Roger Oden, Kinemon and Toki, so we have more chances to get a tandem slot from their swap if it is needed in stage 3 to break Appu's barrier. Appu will have Drake with him, who if we defeat Appu will actually leave, we don't need to damage him or beat him, and Appu's barrier will either have a Wano slot in order to break or a tandem one. We want to swap all of our dual units here, and we guaranteed get Wano and tandem slots, so no matter what the barrier has, break it with the correct slot, and then easily defeat Appu, and wait for Drake to finish his monologue and retreat. In stage number 4 now, we are going to go against Q Kaido. He will bind us, but friend captain Yamato resists it, and then he will gain a damage reduction shield. We want to swap both of our Yamato units to the deck side to have color advantage, and then Zoro and Sanji again for adjacent matching slots, an attack boost and an ore boost, and then we want to activate our crewmate Yamato to remove the damage reduction and increase our damage. After that we attack based on color advantage and super easily defeat the first Kaido. Stage number 5 has 2 different variations. All of the teams in this video can deal with both. You either get Strength Queen with Threshold or Q King with Defense Up. The rest of the debuffs remain the same, and our plan is also the same. We want to activate the EX Super of Roger. King and Queen actually interrupt EX Supers, but we don't care since Roger Oden can stop the removal of beneficial effects. After the EX Super comes the special to increase our damage by a lot and also damage the enemy, but guarantee our team a full board of Wano slots. Then we activate Kinemon to primarily remove paralysis from everyone. And then, depending on the variation, we want to activate Sanji or Zoro. If Threshold is present, so Queen, we activate Sanji. If King is present with Defense Up, we want to activate our dual unit on Zoro. So if King was here, I would have swapped to Zoro and activated his side of the dual special. You can also swap your friend captain to the Q side here if it is the Queen variation, it doesn't really matter though. And then for the final stage, our friend captain will resist bind, then our Toki will resist special bind on herself. We activate her first to remove special bind, and now we have 1 special remaining since we are limited to 2. We want to activate our friend captain one on the Q side to remove damage reduction from Kaido and increase our damage even further. With the Roger Oden buffs still active, we just one-shot Kaido. If you pulled Roger Oden and Zoro Sanji, or V2 Yamato and Zoro Sanji, this is the team you want to use. If you have V2 Yamato instead of Roger Oden, just swap the captain and the friend captain spots around. You want to enter on the deck side of Yamato and the Q side of Zoro Sanji, having him in the middle row again with the adjacent units not being Yamato. And to replace the missing Yamato, we need a unit that can remove 5 or more turns of damage reduction in stage number 4. So here I am going to use Super Tandem Jack. Once again, we clear the first 2 stages immediately. Despair is gone here because of Roger Oden, and we do not need to stall for super swaps because we simply do not need them. Swap both of your dual units in stage 3 to get guaranteed tandem slots and a guaranteed Wano slot on Yamato, and then based on Appu's barrier, use the correct slot, break his barrier and easily defeat him, then waiting for Drake to retreat. In stage number 4 now, we will resist bind because of our Yamato captain, and then we want to activate the unit we have placed in the team to remove damage reduction. In this case, it is Super Tandem Jack. He removes damage reduction, he provides us chain boundaries, so a bit more damage, which is nice, and then we swap both of our dual units to have better slots. Yamato is on decks to have color advantage, and Sanji Zoro can provide us with an attack boost and an ore boost over everyone. So now we attack based on slots, ending on Yamato to easily defeat the first Kaido. For stage 5, once again, depending on the variation we get, we want to activate the correct side of the Zoro Sanji special, but before we decide that, we will activate the EX Super of Roger Oden. It is an interruptible action, but we don't care, since Roger Oden can stop the enemy from removing our beneficial effects because of their captain ability. After all the animations conclude, we want to activate their special to get an attack boost and an ore boost. For the remainder of the quest, actually, since Kinemon can increase our already existing attack boost, activate him next. He can also remove paralysis from everyone, and then we swap to Zoro since we have the King defense up variation, and activate his side of the special to remove it. If we had Queen and Threshold, we would not swap, we would just activate Sanji, and here we can super easily defeat the enemy. By the way, even though here in the final stage we still have the attack boost and the ore boost from Roger Oden, in case you don't have Kinemon and you want to replace him with a paralysis reducer, missing out on the attack boost will be absolutely fine since we have overkill damage. We resist bind, Toki resists special bind, we activate here to remove it from Yamato, then we want to be on the Q side when we activate Yamato for our second special to remove damage reduction, increase our damage even further, and one-shot Kaido. If you only pulled Zoro and Sanji from the new legends, we are going to use them as captain in this optimal team for you. Our friend captain will be V2 Yamato. We want to enter on the deck side of Yamato and the Q side of Zoro Sanji. We have Luffy here who will remove despair in stage number 3. If you don't want to use Luffy and you want to use someone with a higher multiplier, you can replace Luffy with anyone you want and add a despair removing support on someone, like for example Dex Rare Recruit Kanjuro on Kinemon. You can also use the 5-star version of Luffy or replace him entirely with another despair removing unit. For the Zoro Sanji swap patterns, swap 4 times in stage 1, 1 time in stages 2, 3 and 4, and then we are going to super swap in stage number 5. Something to have in mind, Luffy provides us with a full board of RCV slots at the start of the quest. If you are on Sanji with an RCV slot and you attack with him, he will reduce your super swap meter by 1 turn because that is his captain ability. Essentially the trick to not mess up the super swap, because it is preferable for us to super swap to Sanji for the final stage damage. Do not tap on Zoro Sanji at all to attack, only hover your finger over them to swap before stage 4. That way our super swap won't get messed up and we can have a very easy time. In stage 3 versus Appu, first you want to activate Luffy to remove despair from your captain, and then you want to swap both of your captains. Yamato will guarantee herself a Wano slot, Zoro Sanji will guarantee Luffy a tandem slot. So now whatever the barrier is, you can break it. And again, I cannot stress this enough. Do not tap Sanji, because if you do here, your next swap will be a super swap to Zoro, and we do not want that. We can very comfortably beat Appu here without tapping on Sanji. And of course, we don't need to attack Drake, he will just retreat on his own. And that will be the Zoro Sanji super swap strategy for all of the teams in this video, but I will skip the explanation in the rest of the runs for time purposes. In stage number 4, we want to activate the unit we have on the team to remove damage reduction. In this case, it is Super Tandem Jack. And then we swap our dual units to the deck side, not activating any specials of course. We get the guaranteed matching slots and the attack boost with the ore boost, which is universal, from the Zoro Sanji swap. Now we attack based on color advantage and slots to easily defeat stage 4. In stage number 5 now, no matter the variation, we are going to do the exact same thing, since we have the super swap of Zoro Sanji available, and we can get them into their dual form before we activate the special. So the first thing we want to do is swap Zoro, super swap actually, to Sanji, get the full board of tandem slots, the attack boost and the ore boost. Then we activate their special, we remove the defensive effect, no matter the variation, and we increase our damage by a lot. Do not activate their EX super. If you do, you will be interrupted and your run will be ruined. Activate Kinemon instead to remove paralysis from everyone, and then swap Yamato if necessary depending on the variation. Here it is Queen, so I will swap to the Q side, but it's not necessary at all. You can even stay on the deck side, so you can swap and get a guaranteed Wano slot for the Q Yamato in the next stage. When attacking Queen or King here, try to preserve some of your slots to matching, so we have enough damage in the final stage too, which is extremely easy to do. We don't have a way to manipulate our slots though, and we are not going to bother with Yamato's super swap, so just make certain to at least keep 2 Q slots matching. Now in the final stage we resist bind because of our friend Captain Yamato, we activate Toki who resisted special bind to remove it from Yamato, and then we want to activate the special of Yamato on the Q side to remove damage reduction and increase our damage. We can now also activate the EX super of Zoro Sanji, and now we attack based on slot and color advantage to super easily defeat Kaido. If you only pulled Roger and Oden, this is the best team for you. Super Tandem Jack this time is very useful not only to remove damage reduction, but also bind in stage 4. Momonosuke here is to remove 7 turns of damage reduction in the final stage. Make certain you have Jack in the bottom row, Toki in the middle row, your EX super active, and you enter on Sanji from your friend captain, Zoro Sanji. We also want to max out their super swap, and we are going to follow the exact same strategy I explained in the previous run. Let's jump to stage number 3 here. We remove this pair because of Roger Oden captain, and what we want to do is activate the EX super of Roger Oden first, and then we swap Zoro to Sanji. Now we have a guaranteed tandem slot on Kinemon and guaranteed Wano slots on our captains. Something important to have in mind to not waste your time in stage 3. Enter stage 3 with Kinemon not having a Wano slot, so Zoro Sanji can manipulate his slot to tandem, and if it is needed we can use that to break Appu's barrier. Make certain Jack is in the bottom row and activate him first. He will give us chain boundaries, remove both bind and damage reduction, so he's great. And now we want to swap Sanji to Zoro for the final swap before the super swap, to also get an attack boost and an ore boost for everyone. We have locked matching slots from the previous stage, so attack based on color advantage to super easily defeat this stage. The super swap of Zoro Sanji is ready to go, so we don't care which variation will appear in stage number 5. Here it happens to be Queen. What we want to do first after the preemptive is activate Roger and Oden. Their special will provide us with a very good attack boost and ore boost. After them, we of course want to super swap our friend captain to Sanji. That will manipulate all of our slots to guaranteed tandem, and then we want to activate them in their dual form to of course remove the defensive effect and gain tons of boosting to also counter the attack down under specific chain debuff. Finally, we activate Kinemon to remove the paralysis, and then we are ready to attack Queen. Even if it is King, try to beat the enemy with 1 or 2 attacks. At least maintain a couple of matching slots for the final stage, since we cannot manipulate them back to matching. It is still easy to do though because we have lots of damage, and even with a couple of matching slots we can beat Kaido. Something you need to be very careful about, Toki needs to be in the middle row to evade bind, and that way resist special bind. We activate her after that to remove both of the debuffs, and for our second special we want Momonosuke to remove the enemy's damage reduction completely. We are more than ready to attack now, with the attack boost and ore boost from Roger Oden still remaining as well. Attack based on slots If you want, you can also activate the Rasugo special of Roger Oden to increase your damage even further, but it's not really necessary. If you only pulled Yamato, this is the optimal team for you. We are actually going to change it up a bit, and instead of using Jack to remove damage reduction, we are going to use Legend Killer, the new Pirate King Adventures Newgate, and the 2 new rare recruits in the middle row. For our 2 captain positions, the friend captain will be Zoro Sanji, entering on Sanji, and then we will also enter on the Q side of our own Yamato. It is important to use the super swap of both units here to have guaranteed success and good slots in the final stage, so the swap patterns will go something like this. For Zoro Sanji, you swap 4 times in stage 1, 1 time in stages 2, 3 and 4, ready to super swap in stage 5. You also do not want to tap on the unit with a tandem, Wano or RCV slot to make certain that you don't mess up the super swap, which needs to be on Sanji, not Zoro. And then for Yamato, it is highly important to have 4 slasher or striker crewmates. So the swap pattern will only work if you have the correct class crewmates so they can reduce the super swap meter. Otherwise, you need to change up your pattern in case you make replacements. And it goes as following. We want to enter on the Q side and swap 3 times in stage 1. We don't swap in stage 2, we swap once in stages 3 and 4, and then we super swap in the final stage, which we will see shortly. Now in stage 3 we swap Yamato first to remove Despair from herself completely and guarantee ourselves a Wano slot. Then we swap Zoro to Sanji to guarantee Toki a tandem slot. We attack with the correct slot to break Appu's barrier, and we defeat him. Be careful, do not attack with Sanji if he has the type of slot that will reduce his super swap meter. In my run he had an int slot, it didn't matter, so I used the attack. Now in stage number 4, we resist the bind because of Yamato, and what we want to do is the following. First, we want to swap our Yamato to the deck side, and then we want to activate Killer's special to remove the damage reduction, gain a color affinity boost on Yamato, and decrease her super swap meter. Finally, we also swap Sanji to Zoro for the attack boost and the ore boost, and we attack based on color advantage ending on Yamato to super easily proceed. For stage number 5, no matter the variation, we are going to super swap Zoro to Sanji. That will manipulate all of our block slots into guaranteed matching tandem, and we have the dual form of the unit available to us now, so we can activate their special, and no matter what defensive effect is present, it will be removed. We will also gain an attack boost and an ore boost from the super swap, and lots of chain boosting to help us deal with the attack down under a specific chain debuff. Then we activate Kinemon to remove paralysis from everyone and increase our attack boost's duration to last in the final stage as well. And now we can also activate Newgate, which will also help Yamato's super swap meter to be reduced. And to essentially guarantee ourselves a full board of matching slots, we attack with Kinemon and Zoro Sanji here. The reason we do that is because they are adjacent to Yamato, so they can get a guaranteed matching slot in the final stage, and we can of course also attack with Yamato if we want to increase our chain a bit before attacking with Kinemon and Zoro Sanji. In the final stage, the first special will be Toki's, who resisted special bind and can remove it from everyone else. Of course, our Captain Yamato will remove the bind with her Captain ability, and then we super swap her for adjacent guaranteed matching slots, and we activate her special to remove the damage reduction from Kaido, apply increased damage taken, gain a color affinity boost, and then we attack based on color advantage to super easily clear the Blitz. In case you are missing one or both of the new rare recruits, Kinemon and Toki, I want to quickly talk about replacements in this run. It will run in the background, it is the 3 new legends with no new rare recruits. But obviously that is an easy case, maybe you only have 1 new legend and no new rare recruits, that is way tougher. But to offer you some suggestions, if you don't have Toki, an almost perfect 1-for-1 replacement is Arena Asura Doji. You just need his second stage special for him to remove 6 turns of special bind in the final stage. But something to keep in mind, he doesn't remove bind like Toki. So if in the final stage you want to remove both bind and special bind with Toki, just have Asura Doji in the middle row so he can evade bind, and then the other unit you want to use the special of should either be in the middle row next to Asura Doji or in the captain position. So after Asura Doji, you free that unit from special bind and you activate it. You only are limited to 2 specials, so it is more than enough. That way you don't have to remove bind and you have to just deal with Kaido with only 4 attacks. And in majority of cases in this video, that is very easy to do. Obviously, if you have V2 Yamato as captain or friend captain, you don't care about the bind, so Asura Doji is the perfect replacement for Toki, and he also allows Roger Oden to gain access to their EX super, just like Toki does. For Kinemon, mainly you want paralysis removal for 6 turns of paralysis in stage 5. Some combos you can replace Kinemon with. First of all, maximum level limit break V26 plus Shanks. I wouldn't advise you to maximum level limit break him though if you don't already have him there, so don't waste your posters, but he is an option. Another 6 turn paralysis reducer, of course, and then if you can't find 6 turns of removal, you can use combos of special and support. If you are using Roger Oden, you can use Arena Kawamatsu on Roger Oden. He removes 2 turns of paralysis, and then a paralysis remover instead of Kinemon, like for example Shanks or even Christmas 6 plus Chopper. Another support that can be found helpful is Strength Rare Recruit V1 Raizo, who can be attached on units like Sai Legend Momonosuke, and that can also be a great combo instead of Kawamatsu in case you don't want to use Roger Oden or in case you don't have them. If Kinemon is now needed on the team to also increase the duration of the attack boost you get in stage 5, and you need that attack boost to beat Kaido in the final stage, I don't know if he's replaceable, you need to swap your team around more. And the same applies to where he is needed for Roger Oden to gain access to their EX super. If you can't play around that and you need the EX super, Kinemon might be necessary. But in majority of cases, for the attack boost at least, having the attack boost in the final stage is overkill damage, so we can live without it. So the main reason Kinemon is on the team is to remove paralysis. And of course, worst case scenario, if you can't find another team or a solution for replacements or whatever, maybe you can use units that are not boosted in the Blitz battle to at least get some of the rewards, or just play the lower difficulty of the Blitz battle in case you are a newer player to One Piece Treasure Cruise. Let's now defeat Kaido in this run though and proceed to the final team, where I am not going to use the new bats at all. In case you pulled no one from the new bats, no new rare recruits or legends, here is the optimal team for you to actually get some drops. We are going to use Ace and Yamato as our captains, entering on Yamato, Zoro and Sanji as our friend captains, entering on Sanji, and then we are going to use Pirate King Adventures Newgate, Legend Sai Momonosuke, Legend Killer, and 6 plus Legend Christmas Chopper. We are going to need the super swap of both of our captains. So for Zoro Sanji, we enter Sanji, we swap 4 times in stage 1, 1 time in stages 2, 3 and 4, ready to super swap in stage 5, and we don't tap on the unit before stage 4 to not mess up the super swap because of their captain ability. And for Ace Yamato, we enter Yamato and we swap once, essentially every single stage except stage 3, where we are going to swap twice. But do not immediately swap in stages 1 and 2, wait until you are done with the Zoro Sanji stalling, then swap once you are ready to clear the stage. If you immediately swap, the burn will be applied, it will take care of all of the enemies and it might ruin your super swap stalling. For stage number 3, turn 1, we swap only Ace and Yamato. Then we just tap, wait for the despair to be removed, and in turn 2, Appu will make all of our slots into block. We will stall this turn as well. Don't swap anyone, just tap all of your units to get rid of the block slots. In the next turn, Appu will apply bind to one of our units randomly, but we can remove it with the Ace Yamato captain ability, so we don't care about that. His barrier will also be removed. So now we are ready to proceed. Swap both of your captains and defeat him. It is also important to have specific supports, mainly V1 Strength Rare Recruit Raizo on Momonosuke, who alongside Chopper's special can help us remove paralysis completely in stage 5. I'm also running some supports for damage just to be safe. I am not certain if they are necessary, but they definitely make the run more comfortable with your damage output in the final stage. I have Raid Zoro on the new Pirate King Adventures New Gate, and Legend V3 Marco on Ace and Yamato. In stage 4, we activate Killer to remove the damage reduction. You can use anyone to remove damage reduction in the place of Killer. Then we want to swap both of our dual units, attack based on slots and color advantage, ending on Ace to do the maximum damage possible, and try to hit as many perfects as possible as well to increase your chain because of the chain boundaries the Ace Yamato swap provided. By the way, the team is also a bit flexible in case you want to make some replacements, because Newgate is not going to be useful with his special anywhere. He is only here for the point multiplier because he is a free-to-play unit, and he is also a Q/Slasher striker. If you feel like you can make the team work better for your box, feel free to do that. No matter what variation we get in stage number 5, we want to super swap Zoro to Sanji to get all of the block slots out of the way, then activate them to get the defensive effect King or Queen have out of the way, and then we of course get all of the boosting with them to beat the enemy and also evade the attack down under specific chain debuff. We also want to swap Ace to Yamato for chain boundaries, then we want to activate Chopper, who alongside Raizo support remove paralysis completely, and then we want to beat the enemy attacking with everyone except our Q units. We want to keep the matching slots on our Q units for the final stage, and it is definitely manageable. In the final stage, because of Ace and Yamato's captain ability, we resist special bind and bind just like it happens throughout the quest. Then our damage boosting supports, Marco and Zoro, activate for a chain boost and a color affinity boost, and we want to super swap Yamato to Ace and activate his special. That way we get an attack boost for everyone, we get chain boundaries, apply ignited status through Kaido's immunity, and also gain a conditional attack boost against it. Then we activate Psy Legend Momonosuke to guarantee him a Wano slot and remove the enemy's damage reduction completely. Of course, our attack boost can survive through intimidation, and finally we can activate the EX super of Zoro and Sanji to gain enough damage. We start attacking with Ace, Chopper, Killer and Momonosuke, ending with our Q units to clear the quest. And these are all of my teams for the new Blitz battle versus Kaido for all types of players and different pools. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments down below, and if you found this video helpful, definitely leave a like, it helps out the channel a lot and I would really appreciate it. Subscribe for more OPTC content, and as always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.